It's really nice to see each and every one of you here today. And I can tell you that we are freaking devastated. We are devastated with what has happened to Spencer. And it comes as a tremendous shock and very tough for Kathy. His son, Spencer Jr., which you'll get a chance to talk to him in a moment. But I thought about, well, what would Spencer say about this event other than thank you all for being here? He would be telling you, don't cry for me. Spencer had 150 years of fun. In 70 years. And he has lived an incredible life, and a life that so many people simply aspire to live like that. And you know, he went racing a little over 40 years ago, and he never stopped. Never stopped. He had his pedal to the metal each and every lap. And you know, I remember Spencer as an innovator. You know, and I'm going to take you back a little further. You know, I remember when I was 10 years old and Spencer was 12. Is somebody trying to tell me something? No. Louder. We were living in Southern California, and he was kind of bored. So he took a pair of roller skates, and he took the wheels off the roller skates and mounted them on a 2x4. And you know, I swear to God, he invented the first frickin' skateboard. You know, that's what happened. And he used to jump that thing, the sidewalk. We didn't want to land on the sidewalk, so we put the ramp that he built kind of sideways so we could land on the grass, so it wouldn't be so difficult. But after a few months of that, it wasn't enough for Spencer. He had to have something that had a motor on it. So you know, off he went, and he started riding motorcycles. And Spencer started out as a hill climber. And you know, back then they were riding a BSA single cylinder 400, which was a badass motorcycle. And you know, that's what he started on. And Spencer Jr.'s mother, she became you know, nervous about all of this and wanted him to quit racing motorcycles. And you know, that's when he switched to pickup trucks. And Spencer and I, we worked together at a dealership that my father owned. And we both wore ties, and we worked inside. He had this idea to build a mini truck four-wheel drive. No one ever had one. Toyota didn't have one, Nissan didn't have one, but Chevrolet and Ford Broncos, you know, they had them. So he said, I'm going to build a four-wheel drive Nissan. It was a Datsun back then. So he took his tie off, and he said, you know, that's the end of that for me. He went out to the shop and bought Jeep components, and that's how he built his first four-wheel drive, the first mini truck 4x4 that the world had ever seen. And I remember, you know, after he built the thing, he says, come on, we're going to go drive it. And he takes me to this hill, and I'm looking up to this hill, and I'm going, are you sure? And he says, yeah, just get in it and you know, go. I said, well, I'm going to make sure it's in low range because I'm not going up that thing in high range. So, you know, I put it in first gear and, you know, let the clutch out, and son of a bitch, that thing just went right up the hill. I got up to the top. I was very thankful because I was worried about that. But, you know, from there, it just continued on. And Spencer started his own company, and some of you may already know all this history, but maybe there's someone here that doesn't. But he started a company called Low Manufacturing. And Low Manufacturing produced four-wheel drive mini trucks, and he was selling them to Datsun dealers all over the country. Well, and of course now, Toyota and Nissan are starting to get hold of what he's doing, and they were not very innovative, and unfortunately they're still not very innovative. So they began to produce mini truck four-wheel drives, and from there, Spencer actually stopped racing a four-wheel drive and was racing a two-wheel drive truck, and Spencer became a factory driver for Nissan Motor Corporation, and I thought it was 16 years. Somebody corrected me, and it's 18 years. But Spencer won the Baja 1000 8 times, and God bless you, brother. Then they changed that to the NORA race, which is a 5-day race. I think it's about 1,350 miles, and he won that twice, including a year ago at 70 years old. And today, I think this is the weekend they're running the Mint 400. Well, guess who won the Mint 400 last year in a 40-year-old truck at 70 years old? It was Spencer Love. That won that race. And I sit here and I talk about my brother, but one thing that I'm reminded, and I think that each and every one of you will know this about Spencer, he never talked about himself. You never hear him in a sentence that starts with I. It's always you or we. Is never I. And that's one of the things that I'll always remember the most about my brother, because he didn't live by what came out of his lips. He lived by what came out of his life. And that should be a sign for each and every one of us to realize that it's the things that we do that are important, not the things that we say. And thank you for those tears too. I appreciate that. But he was really very, very special, and we have a hard time even referring to him in the past tense. We still expect him to pull down these stairs and come down and have a drink with everyone. But it's something that we have to get used to, and it's something that everyone else has to get used to too. He doesn't like what happened to him, and when we talk about what happened to Spencer, he was out at King of the Hammers. They were all out there having fun, doing the things that he liked to do. And he complained of having a headache. And, shortly thereafter, he went unconscious. He was flown to the, I can compete with that freaking boat. He was flown to a hospital in Palm Springs where they took very, very good care of him. And what happened to him was a brain aneurysm, which means that a vessel just pops, in your head, and your head is just full of, blood, and that's kind of the demise. But we always knew that he would never go from crashing his plane or crashing a car or crashing his motorcycle. That was never going to happen to him. But something did, as it happens to each and every one of us. But what we're left with my brother Spencer is an empty frickin' heart. We're hurting terribly, terribly bad. But we are able to look back at the life that Spencer lived and the examples that he set forth and the kindness that he showed everyone. And we're thankful to have known him, and thankful that he was part of our family, and thank him for being part of our life. And what I'm going to go ahead and do now is turn the microphone over to his son. We used to call him Spencer Jr., but that's over now. He is Spencer Love. And I'll let him say a few words, and God, I love this guy. You're awesome, brother. Thank you so much.
Sorry, it's hard, but first and foremost, I want to thank Bonnie and Anna for hosting this place and having everybody down here, all the Fox's customers and bikers, everybody. You guys are our extended family, and we valued every one of you guys, and you know, a lot of memories made at Fox's over the years. And you know, I showed up here when I was in high school and never been to Fox's in my life. You know, I was a little blown away with what he bought, and you know, building this over the years and seeing what it's turned into now is my dad would be proud of what it's turned into, and every person that's been here over the years. And I can see all the familiar faces that I've been here for a while, but seeing all the people that have showed up, and we appreciate that. And you know, a lot of memories here with my dad and Harley Davidson's and his boss Haas. Him doing burnouts up there at the bathroom, and you know, just didn't use a wall, put a little water down, which I actually did it for him. And he would spin, you know, 180 degrees on a V8 motorcycle that had 650 horsepower. You know, you couldn't even see where he was going, but he did it, and he'd drop in over his plane, over that mountain right there, land right in front with his Lake 210 plane, and just a lot of stuff that, you know, memories that I remember from Fox's, and, you know, honored that everybody's here, and that, you know, obviously I love my dad. I shared racing with him at that last NORA. We won overall, or in the Challenger era, and got 17th overall. And you know, just there's no replacing my dad, but everybody here needs to stay close to your family, and you know, keep your head up for my dad. And you know, we're having a tough time with family, and Kathy is super strong, and love her more than anything. And like I said, all you guys are all my extended family, and that's all I have to say. Thank you for showing up.
Thank you, Spencer. Hey, the bartenders are going to start spreading out shots of Grey Goose. Spencer loved Grey Goose. So we're going to give everybody a shot of Grey Goose. We're going to bring down some balloons, and everybody's going to go out to the front, and we're all going to set them free. And after that, we'll all have a few conversations, hopefully a bunch. And, you know, I'm starting to cry. That's pretty sad. But, you know, I didn't meet Spencer until 2000. No, hang on. I'll stop. 2001. And he was like my father. So, let's all get a shot. Let's all let a balloon go. We can throw some flowers in the water. We'll watch them circle. And then Spencer, you guys can all say your goodbyes to him.